expression 2x squared plus 5x minus 12 using the AC method. The AC method is listed here. Step number 1 states to factor out the GCF, or greatest common factor, if possible. Our quadratic expression is 2x squared plus 5x minus 12. In this particular expression, we do not have a greatest common factor. Step number 2 tells us to multiply a times c. In this particular expression, it is quadratic. We have ax squared plus bx plus c. So in our problem, a is equal to 2, c is equal to negative 12. And if we multiply a times c, we have a times c is equal to 2 times negative 12, or negative 24. So the product of a and c is negative 24. Step number 3 tells us to find two numbers whose product is AC and whose sum is B. In our problem, we had that AC is equal to negative 24, and that B, looking back here at our original problem, B is equal to 5. So we want to find two numbers whose product is negative 24 and whose sum is equal to 5. Now, since the product is negative, I want to consider a positive and a negative number. Since the sum is positive, I'll want the larger of the two numbers to be positive. So I'll start with 1. Negative 1 times 24 is equal to negative 24. Negative 1 plus 24 is equal to 23. So that pair of numbers does not work. I'll go to 2. Negative 2 times 12 is negative 24. Negative 2 plus 12 is equal to 10. So that pair of numbers does not work as well. 3. Negative 3 times 8 is negative 24. Negative 3 plus 8 is equal to 5. And that is the pair of numbers that works. The product is negative 24 and the sum is 5. So we found two numbers whose product is AC and whose sum is B. Step number 4 tells us to break apart the middle term. So I'll go back to the original expression. I'm going to write down the first term, which is 2x squared, and I'm going to write down the last term, which is minus 12. This middle term of 5x, I'm going to break apart using the numbers negative 3 and 8. So I'm going to write minus 3x plus 8x. Noticing that negative 3x plus 8x is 5x. So now I've broken apart the middle term. We have 4 terms here in the expression. Step number 5 tells us to factor by grouping. So I'm going to group the first 2 terms together, and I'm going to group the second 2 terms together. For a moment, I'm going to ignore the second 2 terms and look at the first 2 terms. Looking at 2x squared minus 3x, the greatest common factor between those 2 terms is x. And I'm going to write that down, factor that out from the first 2 terms, and if I do that, x times 2x gives me 2x squared. X times a negative 3 will give me a negative 3x. I should always be able to multiply and get back to the previous step. Now I'm going to look at the second 2 terms, ignoring for a moment the first 2 terms. The greatest common factor between the second 2 terms is 4. I'll bring my sign of plus down in the middle and factor out a 4. 4 multiplied by 2x will give us 8x. 4 multiplied by negative 3 will give us negative 12. And so we have x multiplied by 2x minus 3 plus 4 times the quantity 2x minus 3. We have a common binomial here of 2x minus 3, 2x minus 3. So what I would now like to do is write down the common binomial of 2x minus 3 times the remaining terms of x plus 4. The factorization of 2x squared plus 5x minus 12 is 2x minus 3 multiplied by x plus 4. As a last step, I should check the problem. I should distribute or FOIL to make sure that it checks. So if I check, I am going to multiply the factorization. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 4 is 8x. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. These are like terms in the middle. If I combine those like terms, I have 2x squared plus 5x minus 12, which was the original expression, and the factorization checks.